Well, Taryn, thank you so much for joining me today on this first interview of Big Break Sandals. What a show last night. It was certainly fun to watch, and it looks like there's going to be some drama coming up. But first, before we get started, let me ask you a little bit about yourself, your background, how you got into golf, and then, how did you get chosen by the Big Break?
Okay. First, I got chosen by the Big Break. I sent in my online application almost probably back in February of last year, and then I got called last October saying that they wanted an on-camera audition, and I went in November to Orlando and had an on-camera audition there, and then they contacted me about a month later in December and told me that I'd gotten on the show.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so give me a little bit about your background and your golf.
Okay, I'm from a small town from Glasgow, Kentucky, and I started playing golf when I was 10 years old, in fifth grade. We didn't have enough girls for the high school golf team, so my dad kind of decided that we might give it a try and went to the meeting, and I played in my first high school state tournament as a fifth grader, so I was an 8-year letterman on the high school golf team.
That's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, most states, I guess, don't allow that, but we can do it in here in Kentucky. So,
Well, that's great.
kind of
Obviously,
unusual to be that young. So I had a lot of experience.
yeah, it worked out well for you. So what are you doing in your career now in golf? Where are you at this point?
I'm playing on the Dermot Futures Tour full time, and actually have taken a week off this week, but I've been playing, every event so far, and I'm going to continue to play the rest of the season.
Oh,
So.
good. Good for you. Well, thank you again, and let's talk about the first episode. Certainly, there's always something at the beginning that gets us kind of going, and of course, I think it was the bed scramble. Tell me a little bit about what that was like, how you ended up in the whole thing, and did you end up where you wanted to be?
Well, it was so crazy. We got our nameplates and started running to the house, and we didn't know the setup of the house. We had no clue where the bedrooms were. Everyone just kind of said go upstairs, and actually that was the room that only had 3 beds in it. So I kind of raced up there. I was up there before most of the girls, but Stacy had said that she wanted a bed up there, so I didn't want to be rude, so I let her have that bed, and then Lily and Chris were already up there. So I went back downstairs and kind of got the leftovers of one of the rooms because we'd kind of wasted a lot of time up there, but it was fine. I was fine wherever I stayed. So, but it was definitely chaos.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I can imagine. It's like being in a dorm room when I saw those
Yes,
beds.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, this question is going to come from every woman I know. How many bathrooms are in that house?
There was one bathroom in each room, so 4 of us girls were in my room, sharing one bathroom. So that was really crazy, but it was fun for me. I was never in a sorority because I was always playing golf and never had time. So that's kind of what it felt like, and I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, it looked like fun. Let's talk about the first immunity challenge. We don't have to go through the whole thing, but obviously Elena was right on top of her game and really nailed it.
Yeah.
So it was quite an interesting ending to a day that started out so well. But I want to ask you, when she had the send save card and she chose to save Sarah, if you were in her shoes, what would you have done?
I think I would have probably saved somebody as well. It was so early on in the competition that, you're not trying to make enemies on that first day because it would probably come back and get you that, maybe down the road. Somebody might try to send you to elimination if you sent someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that, she made a wise choice by using the save card rather than the send.
Yeah, a little early to, like you say, to make enemies.
Yeah.
Well, this was the first time you really saw all the ladies hitting under pressure. Did anybody stand out for you during that competition, like, oh, I better watch her, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, Elena definitely was one that we thought we never actually, no one really knew anybody and how their golf games were, and definitely no one knew, Elena, would step up like she did, and then for her to actually go home that day was definitely an eye opener for me because it just proves it doesn't matter who necessarily is the best golfer. It's just who produces a shot at the right time, and so anybody can go home any given day.
Yeah, for sure. And I was wondering after she lost to Kelly there in that the the immunity challenge ending, I wonder how much that affected the rest of her play that day. Did you get a sense that she was?
Yeah, I think it definitely maybe kind of shook her up. She expected to have immunity and to be hanging out at the house the rest of the day and to move on, and that's definitely not what happened. So I think it probably caused her to get a little, I don't know, maybe a little more nervous and think that this isn't this isn't the plan that she had in mind.
Right, right. Well, even watching it, it was well done, because watching the next two competitions between her and Maya looked in the the post-day interviews, like she was on the verge of tears at some point, and I thought, oh well, she obviously goes home. So it was a real surprise for all of us, and it really made for some exciting ending of the day. Well, how did you feel going into those competitions? Your first time up there. You've played a lot of golf. You've been under enormous competition many, many times, but you're on the big break. How different is that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody can really understand how nervous that you can be until you get in that situation. I've watched a lot of the big breaks, and you always think, oh, that shot's not that hard, but when you put what's on the line and all that stuff together, it is it's so much more nerve wracking than you can ever imagine. So the first shot we were up there on, it's a beautiful golf course. We've got the ocean all to our left, and the wind's blowing, and there's a lot of factors. So you're just praying to make contact with the ball. It's just. It was a lot of pressure for sure.
How much is it the pressure of wanting to win or not lose versus the pressure of all those cameras and being embarrassed on TV?
Yeah, I mean, you have all that in the back of your mind. You've got 15 cameras from every different angle on you, and that's not something that you're used to, or at least none of us are, on a daily basis. So that was something to get used to, and then. Thinking about when this comes on TV, you're going to have so many eyes watching you, so you don't want to do anything wrong.
Did you have a party at your house watching the first episode this week, or did you do anything to celebrate it?
I was actually at a tournament in Ohio, so I wasn't home. We had some people at my house, some of my family that did get the Golf Channel that watched it here, but I'm hoping to have some people for next week.
Yeah, that's good. No, it's always fun to enjoy it with others. Now, you got to watch it after spending a grueling day. I know you're up early. There are long days of taping. When you watched the show, was it what you expected to see? Did we miss something that you thought might be there? Anything about that day you want to share that we hadn't seen?
Yeah, I mean, it just, it's been so long since we've taped, and those 2 weeks were just a whirlwind. So I actually had a journal, for each day so that I wouldn't forget. And I haven't actually gone back to look that up yet. But for the most part, it was pretty accurate. There were some things that weren't shown. I mean, obviously, we taped from 5:30 in the morning until like midnight that first show. So there were, things that they didn't use. Like for instance, a lot of people ask me, what happened to Elena when she got eliminated? Did she have to leave, the Bahamas, or did she go? And she did leave the house. Like once you were eliminated, they took her bed because she was in my bedroom. So that afternoon we got back, one of the butlers was taking her bed out of the room, and they kind of, they showed that, or they filmed it. So we thought maybe that would be shown, but it wasn't. But I think that would have helped some people understand, what happened. Obviously they won't see her next week in the house, but. She just moved on another place in the resort. So, but didn't go home.
Yeah, no, they can't go home because then somebody would know what the ending was, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So what was it like with the rest of the contestants that night? Did you all eat together? I'm assuming since you're in one house, you kind of have to sit down all at the same time. What was the conversation at the table? How were people feeling about the first day? Give a sense of that.
Right. Well, actually, at night we're all kind of in different spots. People, you do your interviews at night, and so you kind of eat, and you have some people that you're eating with, and some people that are doing interviews and whatnot. So it was kind of crazy that first night because that was the first night that we'd done interviews for the first day and stuff like that. So it was all kind of new, but everybody was just kind of shocked. Like no one wants to go home first. That was I think the biggest thing when you get there. You're like, I just don't want to be eliminated first.
Yeah.
So I felt bad for Elena because I put myself in that position, and I would have been really upset as well. So like I said, you don't want to go home first.
No, you definitely don't want
to go home at all, but you definitely don't want to go home the first one.
That's for sure. Yeah. Well, any alliances building up between any of the contestants early in this competition? Do you see any people siding with each other? Or
Well, I mean, obviously Ryan kind of had said, if she can help Maya out in any way, they were teammates in school, and which is understandable. But other than that, I really didn't see. People are just kind of there. You got to look out for yourself. Obviously, I made friendships with some of the girls, more than others, but not really anything that was going to affect the golf, I don't think.
Right. Taryn, this has been a real pleasure talking to you today, and I'm really looking forward to episode 2 and hope to talk to you again about it after next week's show. So thanks again for...
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Okay, take care.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.